right, I have 6:06. Call the meeting to order. First up is minutes from our October 9th, 2025 meeting. I reviewed. They look good to me. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Thank you, Chris, for stepping in and doing this.
No problem.
Hearing no comment, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the 10/9/25 meeting?
Can I make a motion to approve my own minutes, or?
I can make the motion.
Well, you weren't there though, so.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as written.
All right. I wouldn't normally second the motion, but seeing as
I
you
can.
can, I'll second the motion. And that is approved with 2 out of 3. All right, so as we've briefly discussed off the record, there's 3 potential new members tonight. Mike Pantos, as everybody knows, has stepped down, which leaves us at 3 members out of a full 5. Brian, Adam, and David are all here. They've all expressed interest and submitted their form online. So we'll just do a quick introduction. I'm Dan Gracie. I'm the chair of the committee. I've been the chair for about, I think, the last 6 months or so now. Been on the committee since 2017. Prior to that was the vice chair, originally a member. So I'm a lawyer by training. My background is in a variety of different fields of law, mostly insurance defense. So what I bring to the committee is sort of an understanding of public policy generally, kind of a capacity to distill large volumes of information into an understandable summary. And then also just general experience on the committee and being in town now for about 10 years. And Chris is a current vice chair. I'll let Chris introduce himself.
Yeah, Chris Borson. This is my 3rd year. First year as vice chair, was the clerk for the previous 2. I am an architectural sales rep for a window and door company. Do a lot of technical stuff, large commercial projects. Very hands-on. So I bring the contracts, the building aspect of things, into trucks, motors, things of that nature. So that's kind of where my expertise of the buildings in town has lent itself to the committee. And then we've got Anne Marie.
Anne Marie Govardin. This is my 3rd meeting, I think, on CIPC, so I'm very, very new. I'm a psychologist by trade. I do assessments, and so I kind of bring some of that analytical experience. And I did a lot of work in school systems, so I have some background in school systems and inner workings and such. So
I imagine you have a general understanding of the function of the committee just from the information that's available online. Obviously, we review capital requests from department heads and then pass on our recommendation to the select board and finance committee. We don't approve anything on our own. We simply review and pass on recommendations. The general timeline for the process is we're kind of in the meat of it right now. So that's why we have department heads present tonight to kind of discuss some of the requests and get more information before we move forward with our analysis and recommendations from there. We basically tend to review through the fall into the early winter. So this is, I would say, probably the busiest time of the year. But we do try to be respectful of people's time. I try to keep the meetings limited to ideally 1 hour, but no more than 90 minutes, not too often. And just try to be efficient with people's time. Obviously, it's a volunteer committee, so that's important. I think maybe if each of you would be open to introducing yourselves and what you're interested in, what you might be bringing to the table. I think maybe we'll go in chronological order of when we received the applications. I think Brian, we got yours first. It looks like you have a kind of a background in facilities and overall operations. Is that fair?
Yep. So I got two things going on. I got my own business, an aircraft mechanic at Worcester Airport, but full-time job is that's a side business. Full-time job is manufacturing maintenance manager and project engineer. So I'm dealing with the same stuff, a capital improvement project for 2026 for the plant, involving the building side of it, but also machine equipment side of it as well for the manufacturing floor.
Great. And then I think Adam was the second one we received. And Adam, we did get your letter of interest, but I and it looks like there was a resume attached, but we didn't receive it, so unfortunately I don't know much about your
Okay.
background.
So I could just make it up?
Yeah, for now.
Adam Sarnik, work for UMass Chan Medical School in facilities and maintenance. I'm an administrator. I oversee the department budget. I oversee purchasing, some capital. We do have a piece that we took off our UMass Chan's capital program and let maintenance, kind of 500,000, let us manage small projects that we can basically execute that don't require, owners, project managers, complex systems, things like that, like replacing a pump, replacing an HVAC unit, stuff like that. So we've taken that on. I've been doing that for about 5 years. And then prior to that, I worked in hotels, operations, and I've been on committees with the Worcester Chamber, and also I was on the board of trustees for the Regency condominium. So lived there for about 20 years. Probably was on the board for 15 years. Again, overseeing all their capital projects, budgets, roof replacement, boiler replacement, probably for a mid-sized condo complex.
And David?
I'm David Adrian. I work with Adam at UMass Chan Medical School in Worcester. Been there for 26 years or so in the facilities management department. My background is accounting and finance. My position is where we develop the budgets for operations as well as the capital program. One of the things that Adam and I are both MCPPO certified with the state. So we have that procurement background, so contracting and procurement's kind of in our specialty. Adam handles one kind of area of the maintenance department. I do the entire maintenance management portfolio, so development of a utility, the power plant, that whole capital side that we have over there. So taking care of like the big stuff over there.
Okay.
So look forward to volunteering here. We built a house about 3 years ago in Rutland and fell in love with the community. So we know a lot of people in town and love this place. So I want to give back to the town as well.
Great. Well, this is a fantastic problem to have. We have not dealt with more applications and openings before. I think maybe what I'm thinking might be best is I can follow up with each of you after, and then we can sort of gauge interest and so on. And then we won't be. I don't think we'll be voting tonight on anything like that because I don't think we have enough information right now. And so we would probably do that at the next meeting, and then whoever does end up joining would probably be for the meeting after that. So I think this fulfills your requirement for attending a meeting. Again, this is a public meeting. You're welcome to stay for the duration if you want. It's not required. Leave it up to you.
Up to you.
It's going up. Let's go out back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you feel free to stay or step out at whatever point you want to. We'll probably
Just to see what it's all about.
absolutely.
We will.
We'll get going to respect everybody else's time. Chris, Ryan, do you guys want to flip a coin, or do you have a preference?
You want to go back and forth? No,
I won't be able to keep track of that.
Alright, I'll start.
All right.
Alright, so if you look at our capital plan, we usually had our car 3, which got, we got the funding to replace it at the special town meeting, so that is now at the bottom of our replacement. Look at the next item is our fire station. Station was built in 1976. As the town grows, the department has to grow to meet the needs of the citizens. Unfortunately, this building is not meeting those needs currently. We do realize that replacing this building is really not a realistic expectation, but we think rehabbing it or modifying it might be. So I guess one of the things that we are trying to do, which might take this off the capital plan, we've contacted Baypath. We have their architectural team working on designs for the attic space above the police department. What that would do is it would add 3 or 4 bedrooms and a couple offices. So we could hire additional staffing, so 4 or 5 people overnight. They can go upstairs, sleep there, and it would kind of eliminate the need for an entire new building. What it would cost the town is basically materials.
Okay.
All the labor would be free because it's done by the students. I guess the only downfall to it is a more expanded timeline.
Yeah.
Just takes a while.
It
They
does take a
they
while.
do it, but it just takes a while.
Yeah.
A few hours a day by the time they drive out
Yeah.
there. Alright,
So are they drafting a plan right now?
They are. So last semester, so before school ended for the summer, I met with all the students and the lead instructor, if you will. They came to the station and they did 3D mapping. Again, I don't know the technical terms, but they used some camera that did some 3D modeling, which was awesome. And they also took measurements, so they have like a basic preliminary plans. This semester, or this entire year actually, they are taking what they did last year and they're making permanent plans. So plans that we can basically build off of. So that's an entire process, and hopefully by June this year, they'll be like, here are the plans, what changes you want to make, and then if, we approve it and the building official approves it, we can get on their schedule for the, framers and all the other shops that Bay Path has to offer.
Now, when they come up with the plan, do they inventory all the materials, or is there a cost to it?
So I think they are going to do like a cut list.
Okay.
I can ask those questions. I don't know the exact answer, but I'd imagine they give us a cut list because we already told them we have to go to the town
Yeah.
to get the money to buy the materials.
Right.
So I can double back with them and see if they can get us a cut list. And it's going to be a rough idea, but
Yeah.
at least we can get a ballpark number.
I'm just curious when we would know, like, what the expense would be like. Would we be looking at putting it on for 28 or 29?
Yeah, it's tough because it all depends on availability.
Yeah.
I know they have a bunch of other projects in the queue, so I don't know where we land
Yeah.
exactly. But I can kind of hash out those details with Bay Path and kind of get a better idea.
That's just to renovate upstairs, right?
Yes.
And create the bedrooms, because
Bedrooms and
we're a
offices.
couple years out. It sounds like dispatch is going to be potentially in a whole new building, so you guys that facility might have additional space that can be utilized
Yep,
at that point
That's
too.
true. The only downfall, I guess, to that is we have to not compete with police, but they're also growing and expanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to, basically hoard the entire building.
Sure.
We're gonna have to figure out some compromise. So if us taking upstairs to have sleeping quarters and offices, and they can take over dispatch, maybe that's a compromise. I don't know, something to discuss down the line, but
Yeah.
Okay, that's not
No.
part of, okay.
No.
This is just the upstairs.
it's just the
Okay.
upstairs. But realizing that getting a new building is kind of unrealistic, and I think this is kind of a nice
Yeah.
middle ground to prolong the growth of our department and increasing staffing and better service to the community.
Alright.
Let me just make some notes so I don't forget.
More to be determined later.
So at this point, the million for fiscal year 27 is not
No.
happening.
No.
This will be a placeholder for 28 most likely to be determined.
To be determined on the amount.
on
yeah.
amount.
I would estimate it'd be under 100,000.
Nice.
Material.
Materials, everything. The only thing that they cannot do is the HVAC piece of it. They don't have a shop for that specific. But other than that, they can handle everything else.
Who supervises the students? Like, what's the liability?
So
of
actually,
having
they've done a huge renovation project in this building.
Okay.
The entire
Lots of buildings.
yeah, lots of buildings in
Wood
town.
studio,
Yeah.
they're working,
Um,
they've done a bunch of work.
Yeah, so they're fully insured for liability insurance, everything. The town signs the release of liability to them, and they're fully supervised by licensed instructors and overseen by our town building officials as well. So
Great.
It's a good deal,
Sounds like a win-win.
it's a win-win. Yes.
it just takes longer.
Yeah.
But you only got so many hours in a day when you have to bus all the way up here from down there and be back in time for quitting time,
But
It's a
yeah,
good
people
deal.
are willing to wait it out. It's worthwhile. All right. The next item is car 2 replacement, which is my vehicle, the deputy chief car. Currently, to this date, it has 88,500 miles, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but when you're driving faster than speed limits, braking hard, it kind of makes the cars not last as long.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we have here? Yeah, so I think 2027 as this upcoming fiscal year, you know, considering trying to purchase a new vehicle. I know we just got the car 3. In a perfect world, I would like to replace this with another, you know, Explorer, but repurpose this for inspections. So right now, like my vehicle, I do inspections, you know, drive the meetings, calls and stuff. Prolong the life of the next car, if we repurpose this as like a fire prevention vehicle, you know, other members could take this to the inspections, and you know, I could keep my vehicle to emergency responses in different kind of meetings. So just like car 3, like I went through before, it is a command vehicle. So you know, it's my responsibility to go to a fire, take command, and you know, I have different tools in the back of my car to kind of orchestrate the show. So just like the car 3 that we replaced, this is also kind of a similar thing. The only thing we don't need, you know, a plow. We don't need it to tow stuff. It's just normal.
Now, car 3 was a full-out purchase. This is lease. So how's the lease work?
So it's a lease purchase similar to what we do with cruisers.
Okay.
It would be financed and paid for through an endowment fund. So it would be paid for by town funds. So none of the red SUVs that we have ever been paid for by the town.
Okay.
So we have an outside funding source that pays for these.
So you just need the
We
approval
just
to-
need the approval and
to
then,
get the lease?
Yeah, and then we have to bring it to town meeting to approve the lease, and then we have outside financing.
Okay,
to pay
so
for
this
it.
wouldn't actually affect.
Correct. Yep.
And then as far as his car,
Yeah.
because
So-
he's
so-
not holding on to
yeah.
that forever.
So we're on a 5-year rotation.
Okay.
So they're 5 years apart, and then so basically every 5 years we would be rotating them through. So
One of them. Okay.
yeah, so his vehicle would stay, and then 5 years. Mine's already 2 years old. So once that lease is paid off for that vehicle, then it would just jump onto this vehicle to replace my current vehicle. So
Then
that's how
once
it's
they're 10 years old, they give them to us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So.
Any further questions on car 2?
I was done at no cost.
Yeah, right.
All right. How far down do you want me to go on the list? By the way, I don't want to.
I mean, I think knowing
Let's
what's coming up
see.
maybe next year, but I don't know if we need to go like.
We don't need to do.
29 or
Yeah,
30.
we don't need to do the ambulance.
We'll want to stop
I
at.
don't think we need to do the Lucas. Right?
We got the cardiac. We got the SCBA coming up next
Yeah, maybe-
year.
maybe the SCBA.
Lucas and the ambulance. I would say the cardiac and the SCBA, which are both
Yeah.
next year in 28. 187 and 316. They're not.
All right. So I'll just start with the life pack. So these are probably the most, if not, you know, the most important piece of equipment we have in the ambulance. So this is utilized by our paramedics. You know, it gives electricity, so if people need to get shocked, it produces that. We can do 12 leads with it. It does all sorts of other, you know. Again, I'm not a paramedic, so I can't like speak to everything. But this is used every single call on medical. Blood pressures, pulse rates, O2 saturation, it does everything. So without this piece of equipment, you know, a paramedic can't function, and we cannot provide ALS care. So this, you know, is an essential piece of equipment. So we currently have 3. So each ambulance is licensed at ALS level. So each ambulance needs to have one of these. And yeah, it's essential.
So this is a replacement for one of those 3.
That's for 3 units.
Oh, this is for 3
That's
units.
for
Okay.
3 units, yeah.
So all 3 get replaced.
Okay. And how old are the 3 that are being replaced?
So 10.
Almost 10 years old.
10 years,
Yeah.
And one, we have this exact model pictured here. You know, most departments kind of are away from these already. They have the new, I forget the new version, but
Well, it says here, you say you're required to maintain and replace them on an 8-year rotation, but if R3 are on 10,
Yeah,
Yep.
so.
we're a
what-
little over
yeah,
that
so
rotation
the
schedule.
current, ones we have now, they've discontinued.
Yep.
And gone to a new and more advanced model called Life Pack 35. So that's where everyone's going, that's why the price is so exorbitant. But FDA requires them, when they sunset a piece of medical equipment, they have to maintain parts in service for 8 years. So we have some time, because once they discontinue and it's done, we can't get maintenance support or anything. So we're in that window in the next couple of years that we have to get it done.
Okay. So like you said, 187 is to replace all
Yeah.
All
three.
three.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the timing doesn't really work like the Lucas, where each ambulance
Right.
when you redo the just
Yeah,
Just batch ordering.
it's easier to batch order that way. They're all consistently all the same.
Yeah.
And then if the models change, it's easy to learn one and
Okay.
what truck you're working on. They're all
yeah,
the same.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely better for training.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta train on one
Yeah.
type.
And then lastly, SCBA's. Just like the monitor is essential to a paramedic, these are essential to firefighters. We cannot go into any dangerous atmosphere without our breathing apparatus. We've tried to do a joint grant this year with Holden Fire to replace all 21 or 26 units. And unfortunately we didn't get it. We're going to continue seeking grant opportunities through the AFG. But again, there's no saying we're going to get it. And at some point, if we do not get grants, we're going to have to purchase this capital item.
Okay.
They are, like the Life Pack, these SCBAs, the parts are becoming obsolete. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the PFAS. Like our gear, they're starting to identify PFAS in these Scott SCBA assemblies. So again, there's I think 2027, sometime in the near future, the current SCBs we have are going to become obsolete because they have PFAS in it. And they're going to create a new PFAS-free SCBA. So I know this is on the cap. We got to do a little bit more research, I think, on when that timeline is. We don't want to purchase, assemblies that have PFAS in it.
Right.
We should probably hold off a little bit longer and wait till it's PFAS-free.
Right.
But at some point, we are going to have to purchase these because what we have now is going to become obsolete and kind of dangerous for our members.
And it says they must be replaced at 15 years, so the current ones are
Yeah.
used.
So these are regulated by OSHA. And the compressed air cylinders have to be re-rated and pressure tested every 5 years. And then they only can be done so many times. And then 15-year cycle of replacement is just an OSHA regulation.
So how close are you to that
We have
15
3 more to
year-
go.
3 more years.
3 more to go.
And you said 316, 710 is
That's today's
like
price.
20.
26 of them.
26 of
Yeah.
them. Okay.
NFPA and OSHA requires that every seated position in a fire apparatus must have access to a breathing apparatus.
Okay.
All right.
Seems straightforward.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Throne is yours.
Yeah. Well, since they're getting a bunch of free stuff, maybe they'll have money for me. So what I got, the first thing I got, which is probably the most important for this next fiscal year, is to replace a couple of dump bodies. We can make the trucks last a few more years, but the bodies are just, with the combination dump body standard spreader bodies. And they're about just plain old steel, and they just, you can't weld any more patches on top of the patches, it's just. We wanna replace them with some stainless ones, that way they can be used, and when we replace the truck, it's just a cabin chassis instead of a whole unit, And we can get, the price on them that I just got from the guy was right around 50,000 a whack,
Okay.
And, so I put in for the, you know, I'm requesting 60 for each one because there's, you know, the swapping over and new hoses and fittings and, you know, the, what it takes to adapt, you know. And we would do all the work ourselves, we would just have them delivered here, you know, so we save a bunch of money there.
Because these ones are stainless steel, you're expecting these ones to last, what,
Yeah.
20 years?
Yeah. We got stainless steel sanders down there that are 20 years old or
Okay.
older.
And the current ones you said
They
are
need
just
very
regular.
little maintenance, you know, a little welding here, crack here and there, but it's, and plus, these bodies have replaceable beds where the chains go, so when they do wear, you can replace just part of it. It's not all welded together where you're, you know, they did the thinking when they designed them.
And I know this.
Because they know the rest isn't gonna wear out, but the bed chain will wear thin and then wear out, so they make them all so you can just replace those parts.
I know this was on last year, and you said they were both pretty patched. How long have we had the ones from last year? Or the current ones?
Yeah, I wanna say one of them is a 2002 on that truck. And the other truck is a 2005
So
that we bought
we're
used
past
in
20
Vermont.
years on non-stimulus product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Beyond.
just, we can only weld them so much more,
Yep.
so many more times, you know. We've done a bunch of work to them already, and
How much time do you say you're spending on patching them together?
too much. It's hard to say, cause they, you know, when they need a patch, if it's leaking sand or salt out, they'll just throw a patch in, and, you know, we try to do it in the summertime if we could, but.
Mhm.
you
But
know,
sometimes there's interruptions and
Yeah,
sanding or something,
exactly.
yeah.
It's hard to, just because we have so much other stuff going on, it's hard to just dedicate one guy to just work on one of these, so it's really kinda hard to say on the hours, but, I mean, welding wire is expensive, steel's expensive,
Yeah.
it's a lot involved because of the rust, they're bad. So, we've been wanting to do it for years, and it's the easiest way, cause a couple of the trucks that we wanna put them on, I mean, there's old, they're 20 years old, but the trucks will be okay. The trucks are fairly sound, you know, and keep those running. Some of the brand new stuff's tougher to deal with anyway, the trucks, because of emissions and computers. I'd rather keep the little older trucks running, it's easier, you know?
Okay.
That's the bodies.
So that was the. Are you doing these in order of your
Importance.
priority list?
Urgency.
Importance. Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed we're skipping this, so I'm trying to
Figured out,
keep
yeah,
up
I
with you.
don't
No, I
know how I
appreciate you
sent you
doing
the package, but,
doing them in order of preference.
So, the next one that is pretty important is, a new front end loader.
Hang on, which one is the
Front end loader with plow replacement,
Yeah.
replacing the 95.
95
Loader,
Volvo
yep.
loader? Okay.
Yeah. This is our oldest loader, it's a 95, but, we have two other ones, but they're both old also, but this was the oldest one, and this we really had to get parts for now. And lots of times, it's used during storms, and otherwise, or for loading trucks while the other two are out plowing snow. Cause they're key pieces of snow removal equipment, but so we would replace the oldest one and take the next oldest one and put that in the yard in place of this one, you know what I mean, where it doesn't get as many hours on it, except for in the winter time. And, the last time I put in that request, it was for less money than that, but then when I went and got the actual prices these days, you know, it was more money than and I believe it was actually, recommended by you guys, right, I think, but it just wouldn't have worked out that way, because it just wasn't enough money, the numbers were wrong, you know?
Now, as you said, you got three, so you take the next oldest one, keep it and get the new one out on the road safer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still workable. Is there any resale value on this one? What would you do with this one once you, if you get a new one?
I asked them if they would give us anything for a trade-in, and he kinda laughed.
Okay.
He came and looked, one of the salesmen came and looked, and, you know, I mean, they might give us $3,000 or $4,000 for it. Out of 300, that ain't much. We could probably sell it to
Scrap
sell it out. We could put it out for bid and sell it outright cheaper than that, for
Okay.
more money than
Yeah.
they'll give us, cause they don't have people going there looking for them. The dealerships,
Yep.
you know, cause it's just, same with that sweeper replacement. I asked her, how about a trade, what do you give us? I got a half a dozen of those in the backyard already, you know, so we're just gonna put that for sale when we get the new one.
And we've got to go new. There's no used or anything. Well, a street sweeper there's not, but loaders. Not a dime a dozen, but there's plenty of loaders out there.
There are, but the problem we have with these certain size loaders are, like, the towns like them. If a pit has them, or they got bigger ones, and
Yeah.
we don't want bigger.
No, okay.
You know, that's the problem, so we don't want one that the town's already been using for 10 years in the salt either.
Yep.
You know, 'cause it just,
And with the new, you get maintenance and everything like that covered and everything. Or
yeah, you get a
package deal?
certain amount, they don't give a lot of that out anymore with anything, but, well, you can pay for extra stuff, but this one here is just, it's old enough now that Volvo's, it's really hard to even get parts for it.
Mm-hmm.
They only support parts for so long.
Yep.
How's the functionality? Is it requiring a lot of upkeep?
Yeah, when we use it, but like I said, it's not used a lot. Summertime, very rarely in the yard, because we have two other ones to use, and we've been short-handed anyway, but in the wintertime, it's running all the time.
Okay.
And last year, we had a trouble with the door handle. You cannot buy the door handle parts. You know, so a bungee cord holding the door closed, and the snow's blowing, and it's just beyond its useful life.
Okay.
30 years. That's everybody's breath.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I remember when it was brand new. We'll go for the
And-
cheaper stuff.
But it looks like the tractor replacement is your next for
Yeah,
27.
Yeah, the next, I would go with the brush chipper is more important than the tractor. We wanna replace a 1998 brush bandit chipper.
I don't know if I got the brush chipper.
The brush chipper.
Did I give
This
it out?
one? Maybe it's over here.
I probably sent the whole package here to you. You do have a lot of stuff on the desk there, I might have missed it, sorry.
Alright.
I don't have a.
Unless I ended up in with sewer.
Dump trucks. Dump
Henry, I don't know if I gave you these. That's the.
That's from last, yeah.
That's last year.
It's the same thing, but
Same
it's probably
thing, yeah.
updated price now.
Updated price tag.
Yeah.
That's right.
60,000 now.
That's what it says 60.
Oh,
Didn't
okay.
get a lot.
All right. Good.
He's got the picture on it, huh?
That's what Austin published last year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is what we wanna replace it with, it's a new style, but, yeah. I apologize for not sending it out,
Oh, that's okay. It's
Oh,
on the
yeah.
summary. I just don't think I had like a full entry for it. So we'll just have to
Make
we'll have
copies
to
of that.
count on you. You'll have to give us real good detail on this one, guys.
Hmm?
We'll just count on you to give us good detail.
Oh, well, it's a replacement of 1998. And, sometimes it starts when we need it, sometimes it doesn't. The problem is it's one of those things that's old and it sits outside, stored outside. We don't have the inside storage for it, so that doesn't help it at all. The older it gets. But it's all rust. The same thing. We have a rust problem with anything that old in Rutland. That's metal, so. I mean, we don't use this thing every day, but if we have a storm or something, that's when it comes in, that's when we need it, you know, storm debris. Chipping brush in the fall for when we take it in from public, you know, couples. And in the spring, we always take in brush and yard debris and stuff, so, I mean, it gets used, and that's why they last a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now you said this is obviously got the rust issues and unreliable.
Yeah.
Does that lead to safety concerns? Guys out there messing around with a chipper that's rusted out. Is that
Oh, it
safety?
definitely doesn't, it's not a good thing when the sides of the thing are rusted out, and if you got water and chips and dust spraying out of the sides of it, we've done some patching on it too, same thing, you know, we got a couple of good fabricators down there, so they keep our stuff running, but it's,
And you said that's what, 1998?
yeah, 1998.
Okay.
Have we looked at this one before? I feel like this sounds familiar.
I think you did, I think it was actually approved a couple of years ago.
That's what I think. I'm just trying to find when that was.
If I remember right. It might have been when Joe was here.
Joe Becker?
Yeah, Buckley, and then
Oh, Joe Buckley. Okay.
Joe Buckley, yeah,
Maybe both Joes.
yeah, so. And then last year I had it in, but it might not have been. What's top priority list?
Yeah, I don't think we rated it last year for some reason, but I feel like we did rate it at one point, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Joe. I remember hunting down prices for him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we can find that after. Alright, so is the tractor after the chipper then, in terms
Yeah.
of priority?
Yeah.
All right.
And this is the last one that I have.
Let's
for
be,
27.
because last year we got very confused over the tractor.
Yeah.
So don't just say tractor. We've got to
Okay,
be
this is
specific on the tractor.
Replacement of the 74
Ford tractor.
Ford tractor
Okay.
for roadside mowing.
Right. We use it for York raking. And it helps with our roadside mowing because you can go a lot quicker with that type of tractor mowing than the boom mower. We use a boom mower, but it's slow. So if we can get a couple passes done with that, it makes things a lot quicker, you know. And then we use it on like the ball fields and stuff for raking room with the York rake. And it's a utility thing.
So how
you
big
know.
is this tractor? How what size? How big is this one?
It's like a 40 horsepower tractor. It's just an old two-wheel drive farm tractor.
Okay.
The school owned it when it was brand new, I believe. Well, that was before you were here.
I remember.
The
Yeah.
school owned it.
Mhm.
And then we used to borrow it to plow sidewalks every storm, and then we ended up getting it from the school. And,
So is the replacement a John Deere?
this year here,
Or is it a different? 'cause
I
we
just sent you a picture of a John Deere to show a picture of that type
Okay.
of tractor. I wanna say Austin threw that word in John Deere.
All right, because we did get this one last year.
Yes, and I would,
It was more
it
expensive
doesn't
last
matter
year.
what kind it is, as long as it's, you know, we're just looking for something new.
Okay.
Well, here it says
Even used.
Used.
Yeah, I would replace it with a used tractor, just something
Newer.
15 or 20 years new, you know.
And so what all parts is this? It's gonna have what a bucket and then you
Yeah,
said
if I'm gonna use it, you know, for a utility tractor like that, that's the one upgrade would be for a front end loader. So you could use it too. It'd definitely be better for working on the fields and stuff, because you wouldn't need the heavy equipment up on the fields. Looking for something like that,
Okay.
you know, something with a cab, so when you're mowing, you're protected, because when it gets open cab, everything, it's just, and I looked around, there's a fair amount of, used stuff you can buy for $40,000. That's way newer, and, you know. Well, he said, I don't care if it's orange or green or yellow, you know what I mean, we don't care, we'd obviously shop around, but, to find
How,
the best deal.
how old for used would you be looking at? And more in terms of what would be the future projected life once you get it.
I wouldn't wanna buy anything older than 8 to 10 years, you know. Newer if possible, it depends where you go. Around here, might have to reach out for a used piece of equipment where there's way more farm stuff and tractor stuff, you know, but I would definitely not buy anything older than 10 years, but because of the use it gets, you know, you could make it work.
Just hypothetically, if it is, say, 10 years old, how long do you think you can get out of it?
Oh, get another 20 years out of it. Just you know, because of the amount of use it gets and the hours.
I think that's it for 27s, right?
Yeah, I think it is. Unless,
Utility stuff, right? The back truck.
yeah.
Well then, yeah, cause then I think we're into 28 now, we've got what, 1, 2, 3 requests for 28.
Yeah. For equipment wise, yeah, the road grader. But, like I was telling Dan earlier, the state, Mass DOT's got some grant funding out there, and I'm applying for that, and you can use it to buy, equipment for maintaining gravel roads. Cause they want us to keep gravel roads, they don't want us to pave them, they want us to be able to maintain them, and they're gonna give away a bunch of money, so I'm putting in for 200,000, and, you know, I looked it up, you could buy a decent used grader for 160, 170. Couple years newer than the 225, there's a kind of a slot in there that you can get them off of this or this, and, you know, but because the grader's used a couple times a year, we grade every gravel road 2 or 3, 4 times a year at the most, but otherwise that's why they last a long time, you know. It's just, the one we currently have, we can't get parts for.
Okay.
Nobody supports them, they were built in Canada, that's 1980.
Yeah.
And we bought that used quite a few years ago.
So probably keep that on for 28 for now, and hopefully that grant funding comes through.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can scratch it, you know, but
Yeah.
I wanna keep it on, we have to replace it at some point, I'm just
Yeah.
hoping that we can get it through the state grant, you know. Truck.
You know, you've got one dump on for 28, one for 29.
Right.
The Vector truck for the sewer department was on 28.
Yeah, I got it down to replace a couple of the dump trucks, the older trucks. But that was with trying to buy used trucks, you know, and then, so I don't know. Talking to Seth, he's like, why you keep buying used trucks? Because that's what they did before me. It's easier to get $70,000 than $170,000. But if we were able to buy some bodies, it gets a lot cheaper if we can going ahead, buy a cabin chassis. You know, it knocks 60,000 right off the price.
So is this 80 just the cabin chassis, or is this with
That was a completely used truck that I was able to find for sale, you know.
So you're
stuff-
saying
you
if
know,
we
stuff
get the
like combo
bodies,
stuff like that.
these prices next year might drop.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't looking for cab chassis at the time, I was just trying to get this, something, you know, combo trucks with the combination bodies and plow, hydraulic system set up for winter operations.
Is there any potential for savings if you were to do two of those together rather than one, and then another one the following year?
Not if you're getting used.
Not if
I
you're
would
buying used,
imagine.
because they're coming from different places. I mean, the last couple we bought, we got a two for a good deal, but we, up in Vermont, you
Mhm.
know. But it was two different towns trading them in, so, you know, the newest truck we got is a 2015. And that was 5 years old when we bought it, you know, so, and that was up in Vermont. If they're around here, they just keep them like we do, too long. Some of the towns in Vermont, they're on a schedule like the cruisers, you know, they got 8 or 9 trucks, so they'll buy one new one every year.
Right.
It was ideal, but, you know, that's not in the, you know, it's kind of not possible. We understand it, and that's why we bought used trucks in the past, because we got rid of even older ones. I know I have some sheets. I don't know what I do with them. I'll leave them in the other drawer.
But what, then the other thing we got in 28 is the Vector truck.
Yeah.
And then I think we're into this.
Oh, yeah, already got it wrapped up. Once again, it's a 1999 that we're trying to replace. You look at it, it looks like a Dalmatian from all the patches welded on the tank. And you need the vacuum, they can't leak. If they leak, they don't work right, you know, and you can't buy the parts to replace the stuff that's rotted out, same thing, you know. We bought this one used, it comes in very handy for water and sewer work, especially on water breaks. You get to do a lot of exploration in the mud without wrecking stuff. They're very handy.
So you said this is a 99, but we bought it used, so how much time have we gotten out of it?
I'll say it was 2008, you got it?
Yeah, I bet we've had.
Because Carl was here.
Carl was here, right.
It was the old
Yeah,
building.
Gary was here for 10 years.
Yeah.
13, 16, yeah,
Almost 20 years.
yeah, we've had it for 20, about
Yeah.
20 years. And I was looking at them, this is a used, to replace with something used again, you know. Companies that use them for pipe cleaning, and that's what they do all the time, they replace them more often. You know, unless you're like holding, you buy a brand new one, but. I looked it up, you could buy them, obviously you're gonna get them through somebody and it's gonna bring it in from somewhere, you know, but you can get them for, I figured 170 by the time we outfit it the way we need it, if you needed any new hose or anything, you know, but.
This is entirely for water and sewer.
No, because we use it for catch basin work too,
Okay.
so I mean,
Stormwater as well.
right.
You could spread it over all three
We could
utilities.
easily spread it all, you know, because we do use it for, catch basin work,
Okay.
you know, cause sometimes it's a lot easier to excavate with it than a big machine.
Right.
In a small area, you disturb less
Gotcha.
ground and less chance of damaging something else too, you know, but. So, it could be all four, highway, you know, we could spread the cost out between all four departments easy. dollars.
doesn't
And then,
do that.
maybe I missed this, but did you say, is that gonna be, would that be new or used?
Used.
Okay, and about how old?
I wanna say the ones I was looking at were like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. But because of the use we get, we could get away with that again, an older vehicle.
And then do you
We'd
think,
keep it,
again, probably go another 20?
yeah, probably. Depending on the shape it's in when you have to buy it, but, you know, we're not gonna, we don't wanna buy one that's already all rotted out, obviously,
Yeah,
so.
yep.
But they're upwards of between 400,000 to 500,000 for a new one. It's a lot of money for something you don't use
Every day.
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and we understand that, this one was, when we bought it, had been, the truck was burned. And put a new cab on it, and then we bought it that way, and a good old truck, but it's at the end of its life, too, you know what I mean? The pump has been rebuilt a few times, and like I said, we're constantly involved on it. That's all I got for the equipment stuff, up to that, up till 28, you know.
Yeah.
I don't, I apologize, cause I don't have the sheets I had for the water and sewer.
Do you have an extra one?
I-
Or?
Did
Yep.
Did I
You
send them to?
You did send
I
me,
did
yeah, you
send
sent me
it to you,
these.
right?
Yeah, you got this
Yeah,
ongoing
Yeah, big money.
maintenance
Yeah.
and then this scary number in 28
Yeah.
for infrastructure repair.
Right. Yeah, the forced sewer main is, it's all been designed, and it's ready to go. We just, for Miles Road, we're just waiting on funding, you know, we're probably gonna have to just borrow money for that at some point, but that's the most important issue we have with the sewer department right now, and there's plenty of pipe, you know, sewer lines on the back page.
Yeah.
They got them on 2 pages, you know, it's just, there's a ton of work you could do to upgrade. Some of our sewer stuff was put in the 40s, I think, or 50s, and 30s, I think, after that trunk line got put in to the hospital, but and it just keeps going up and up. But it's gonna have to just borrow money, you know. The enterprises fund, you'd have to raise the rates outrageous so to just pay for it, so but right now we already have debt, so we're trying to get that lowered a little bit, right, I mean. The same with the water department, when we got the last rehabilitation for our, water plant that is, built in the nineties. Right, in the
It
nineties?
was in the 90s. I would say it was like 98. I don't know.
Yeah. But everything's wearing out, it's going out, pumps, you know, it filters 1.5 million gallons a day. And, it's just starting to show its stage, and the last time we had somebody come in and look, well, yeah, you're talking 5 million to revamp the whole thing, bring it up to speed, bring it up to date.
So
It's
that's
a big
just-
fat loan.
That's just rehabbing it, not rebuilding it.
Yeah,
So then over here, 168 for 27 for the sewer manhole and pipe rehab. That's just a small chunk. I mean, what would that 168 go towards?
Depending on what they find, we'd have to we'd break it up into chunks, you know, and then they'd camera them and see what had to be, a lot of it you can reline, and that works in some, but some of the stuff is so old that it just needs to be replaced. I don't know, because of the way the costs are, exactly how many linear feet of pipe, cause it depends on what you need in each section, and we have from 4 to 12-inch sewer pipes in the ground, and it's all over the place, problem with this is, with doing the repairs, is there's a lot of work to prep up to do the repairs. You gotta get a company to come in and camera and map it all out and see what's there, you know what I mean? So there's a bunch of engineering before you even touch a repair.
Did any of that start already? Because I know it was.
Did the Mile Road engineering was the big
Yeah,
cap-
Miles Road,
yeah, that was big
that
capital.
particular one, line is already engineered, drawings, plans, we have it, it's ready to go. Pending funding. That's a big deal on that job, because you can't, you have to keep that one that's working, because of the amount of town that it pumps. It's a pressure line, and you can't shut it down for more than 15 or 20 minutes without having trucks there, so,
Well, it covers 30% of sewer repairs
yeah,
on that one line.
right,
So
right.
Yep.
Third of the system,
Yeah.
at least, and
Yep.
growing all the time.
Yep.
And I believe that was put in the 50s. Cast iron line, that's
Yeah.
when they kept, I remember Paul from Kappa Corporation told me, he did it. So, well, they said that's ready to go, that's all the engineering's done, and the estimate for it from Weston and Sampson was at 1 point, whatever I wrote down here.
1.5 for
Yeah.
fiscal year 2030. No, I guess my thing is for fiscal year 27, because that's what we're going to be rating everything. I'm just a bit fuzzy on what
Yeah,
you
well,
say 168, and I go, what am I rating? And I'm not quite clear just yet what I'm rating. So that's I want to give it a fair shot, but right now I don't grasp what I'm rating. That's all.
I get it.
I'm just saying right now I'm looking at 27 going 168. I don't know what it's. I'm not
This
clear.
Are you looking to bond the 1.2, and that's the debt payments over the years?
I see this stuff here was prepared by
By
Austin
Austin
and
last
I,
year,
and
Yeah.
I believe that's what the idea would be
Yeah,
to
so-
borrow the
Yeah.
money.
Several years ago, they
even
did the
though-
$3 million water main
Right.
upgrade.
Okay.
So they borrowed the $3 million up front,
Mm-hmm.
and they spent it over 3 or 4 years as the project continued, and then the debt service is going out 10 years.
Okay.
I think that's what
I
he
believe-
Austin was
Yes,
proposing
I
the same
believe
thing.
that.
Bond the money up front, and then utilize the money to work the project over a couple of years, and then pay the debt over. So I think that was the request would be for the full million plus.
Because,
1 point.
Yeah,
Okay.
would be the
and that, the way it's broke down,
Yeah.
it's just,
yeah. So
because
the impact
each
of
year
the
it could be
ratepayers would be
different,
less.
one year might be more and then
Yeah.
less, because it would be in the,
So even though you're saying you do a chunk, you've got the
Yeah,
money set
correct.
aside to
Yep.
do the whole thing. It's
Yep.
just to your point with you can only get so much done in
Right.
so much time,
Right.
but you've already got it piggy banked
Yep.
to
Yep.
complete the whole.
Yep.
So then, if you're gonna bond, would that be a separate bond? Would you also try to bond for the station rehab?
So all the bonding would be packaged together once everything was approved. The treasure collector will handle all of that aspect, and depending on what our current bonds currently are at, those may be refinanced and rolled into new debt as well. But again, that's up to the treasurer. to
Yeah.
handle
that's
that.
how Becky,
Yep.
when I was talking to her
Yeah.
about it,
Yep.
Yeah.
because that's what we did
you're
last
saying
time, we
for that one.
Yeah.
borrowed and they split it
For
up.
Split it,
bonding.
yep.
Well, yeah, because they got water, sewer enterprise fees and bonds
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
both of these.
Right.
Yep.
So to your point, does it make more sense to bond though?
They at least should be looked at together in terms of
Yeah.
selecting the bonds and how
Yeah.
how the payments are gonna be rated out.
I know that's how we did it the last time they did it, and then the water side of it is, there's none left in that to spend, there's still a little bit left in the sewer side. we're gonna do a bunch of testing up there and, bunch of rehab work, in the spring, so. We'll be out of money to spend, just gonna be looking for more to borrow.
Well, then,
Unfortunately.
so we've got, let's see, that would be the sewer pipeline rehab, but then in 2031, we're talking about sewer pipe replacement for 10.4. So is that replacing the pipes we just
No, that's
rehab?
No,
we have,
no,
what do you
no.
think, 20-something miles of sewer pipe in town?
Okay.
So I think there's a lot out there that needs to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the,
So this pipeline rehab that we're talking about bonding for 1.1, that's stuff, like you said, they've already
that would
figured out.
Engineering is done, ready
It's
to,
That's-
shovel
we've
ready.
already
that's the
determined stuff.
Miles
It's-
Road,
Yeah, that's shovel
right,
ready.
that's
Okay.
one
Yeah.
separate thing, that's a little over $1 million just to put that mile of, it's just about a mile, I think, down there. The rest is just moving out to the older parts of town.
Yeah, the manholes in the pipeline, so, okay. Okay. Makes sense, appreciate that.
Sorry.
Now, I know you've got the bond for the water treatment plant rehab in 28. So does that mean potentially bump them both out to 28 if we're
Yeah, because
do one bond, but if we're looking at fiscal year 28 instead of this year, most likely, knock them both
I
out.
also need select board's help on that one.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's
It would
Chris.
make more sense to just, to borrow it together.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
Any
to
TA
create
updates for
stuff
us?
up anyway, but.
Just so you know, the debt exclusions on the town side, not looking at school debt, at town debt. Last year was our last debt service payment for town debt exclusions. The only one that's out there to borrow for the next debt exclusion is the ladder truck. The anticipation to borrow that will be this time next year. The treasurer's anticipating borrowing December of next year for delivery after, so it'll be what, first quarter 28 would be delivery. So he's working that debt cycle in. We have the ambulance on order. The ambulance will be here December of 28, so that's still a couple years out. Don't worry about that. But according to the town financial policies, we're supposed to maintain a debt level service of anywhere between 8 and 12%. We're at 1%. So we need to, don't be afraid of the numbers.
Yeah.
I think
It's
in
time to
order,
borrow some money.
unfortunately, the town needs to, a healthy town needs to reinvest in itself. And holding debt is not a bad thing for a community. You're reinvesting in yourself for the long term and for the future. So again, don't let the numbers scare you. If you feel that the project warrants consideration, move forward, send it along, and let the financial team figure out how to finance it and to properly place it. They may come back to you and say, hey, we can't do it this year, but if we move it here, we can do this, this, and this. So they'll give you some recommendations in that and help, guide you through that process as well.
That's the kind of thing we would probably discuss in our report recommendations, not necessarily associated with a specific rating
Right.
per se, but
Yep.
just the
Yep.
general consideration.
Because I think several years ago when Joe Buckley was here at DPW, they packaged a lot of smaller items together with a backhoe purchase, and they bundled a bunch of things together. They did a 1-year capital outlay, so they basically increased the taxes that 1 year to pay for that, and then it came off the tax rate the next year. And those are great opportunities, especially when we get into dump trucks. That did debt exclusion of dump truck. The last debt exclusion we did for dump truck was 2012. So that was the last brand new dump truck we bought was 2012.
Yep.
And that debt service was for 5 years. The smart thing would be like to replace it like a car payment. When that debt's coming off, you debt exclude another one for 5 years, and your debt service is stable, and so it's not up. Your tax rate is not fluctuating up and down. So if we can start growing some purchases in, and then as debt comes off, we replace it immediately, and we continue to move that and keep that tax rate stable. I think that's the goal. So,
Okay.
Do we know, gotten all the requests from the other?
you should have everything that came to us.
Okay.
We have the requests. I don't know that we necessarily need everybody to come, but what I'd like to do is set a meeting, and then we can, potentially get other department heads in. And next time, I think we can probably cover the rest of the requests, and then maybe even do our ratings. I'm thinking probably January. I don't think anybody wants to be coming in here in late December.
The select board had did a budget calendar for FY27. Their request to you was to have a 5-year capital plan by January 19th, if possible. So early February would be great.
Yeah, I think. Well, how about either the 8th or the 15th for our next meeting?
I think I can do either one. I mean, if we're potentially looking at early February, we might have to look at what, the 8th and then like the 22nd or something.
Possibly. I think there's a chance we could get through it all in one meeting.
Well, you've got visibility of the other requests? Do we know how many?
Yeah, it's not that many.
Okay.
I'll send you everything before
Okay.
next meeting so you can familiarize. But yeah, it's nothing extensive. Anne Marie, does the 8th work for you?
Yes.
Let's do the 8th.
The school reached out and said if you would like the school to come to meet with you guys for their requests, they'd be happy to come to the meeting. We haven't seen what the requests are yet. Other than the driveways, we know the driveways are coming, so.
Okay.
So,
All right.
And what, January 8th,
you-
we
you-
won't be seeing you anymore?
I will probably be here introducing the new town administrator, so, yes, and wishing her well.
If she comes back.
Yes, well, we had a great meeting today, so it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very good.
Is there a motion to close?
I will make a motion to close.
Second.
Second.
Passes. That's 7:15.